Some science to this we're learning today, I tell you. This is a mistake that a lot of farmers will make. It's stressful when the vet's watching you and you've got to make sure you do it bang on, isn't it? Good morning, sheep fans. Cammy's the name, sheep's the game. We are back at it with the jobs, but we have something exciting this morning as well. Not only do we have the usual team here, but we've also got a team from Elanco here. We've got Matt and Leah who are here to, well, one thing, they're here to finally show us how to apply click properly, because we're all terrible at that. You wouldn't say we're all terrible, but I'll say we're all terrible at it. And we're also, I can just ask them random questions while they're here about stuff. Now Leah, you're just about to tell me something about, what are you about to tell me about fick counting?
Yes, I was asking you, because we're doing Ricobin, you're doing drenching with Ricobin today. I was asking what you were doing it for, and you told me nematodirus, you had some concerns that it was, nematodirus was in the area. Matt's just checking the forecast to see what the situation is on the Scops website. But I was saying also, because the weather has taken a turn for the warmer recently, we've seen a rise in strong eye legs and other worms, so some of your other things like Taylor drossagia may well be starting to get more pollution on the pasture. Okay, which would be, I'd then be looking to do a clear wormer for that, is that right? Certainly not a white wormer at that point, because the levels of resistance in the white wormer to anything other than nematodirus are usually pretty high. Yeah. So you would be looking at either probably a clear or a yellow if you're doing it now today.
And what do you think about people who worm their ewes at this, like would give their ewes a white wormer this time of year?
Can I use your, what's your favourite two words, Matt?
It depends.
It depends. Because you can give a white wormer for fluke, for adult fluke, of course.
You can. At what dose?
1.5 times.
Correct,
for
well done.
So you can, what you shouldn't do though is, and I've seen people do it when they're dosing their lambs, just give the ewes a double one, you know, because your rate's way off. So yeah, make sure if you are dosing your ewes, make sure you know what you're doing them for, and you could, fluke, it's been a very good year for fluke though, is it not?
It's been a very odd year for fluke. In some areas the fluke didn't appear until January, so we're a bit behind on that. There'll be adults in the sheep now, but folk that were dosing in the autumn were usually far too early when there's no fluke there.
Yeah, okay. Do you think we should be giving them a dose for adult? Well, we should be testing is the honest thing. Yeah.
Looking around this field, you haven't got much of a fluke risk in here.
Yeah.
So if this is where they live, I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah.
But always check a dung sample and see if there's any eggs there.
Yeah. No, I think we probably should do a dung sample anyway, just because it's so simple and it's so easy to do. But
remember the dung sample at this time of year, because it takes 8 to 10 weeks in sheep for adult fluke to be laying eggs. So at the start of the fluke season, there's no point in doing a dung sample for eggs.
And that is the problem with fluke. And the problem with nematodirus as well.
Yes, because you can't wait for eggs with nematodirus either.
No, nematodirus can cause problems before it even shows up. So touch wood, we've not had any issues that way. We have had a couple of big lambs died, but here's another one just to put to you as well. Both of you, I suppose, I've had a couple of big lambs die, and they're on grass that I've never had before, that is reseed, powerful grass. Is our first thought's pulpy kidney?
Either that or twisted gut.
Okay, just too good, grass too good?
Grass too good.
Yeah.
Look at a parasite video that I did with Ben Strugnall.
Okay.
Last month.
Right. I think I saw you just shared that actually, I didn't get around to watch that.
It was either the last one or the one before. He talked about twisted gut in lambs.
Okay.
Good one.
Right, that'll do. We'll do that. We'll get some jobs done, we'll get some lambs up. I'll swan around as usual, not doing too much. Matilda's got all the hard work to do.
Maybe something you don't look at on the forecast. This is your nearest weather station test.
Okay.
And if you go into the historic data, you can see where the risk has been. So it was orange on the spot, which means we've just gone over.
Okay.
So it shows you whether your risk is rising or falling.
So ours is rising. It's going orange.
Yours is falling.
Oh, falling.
Yeah. So it's still worth treating them. You've been orange, you've been red, you've been black.
Black's really bad.
Yeah.
Black's the
Okay.
worst, yeah. And now you're back to red and orange.
So our risk of nematodirus is falling?
The risk of getting a mass hatch is falling, but the worms will be on the pasture.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
So we're doing the right thing.
I think the big thing for me, I mean this is all great stuff for sheep farmers, the big thing for me with this first dose, this white wormer, nematodirus, it's highly likely it's there.
Yeah.
And white wormer's so cheap. it's such an easy thing to do. It's not an expensive thing to do,
And it's so effective against nematodytis.
and it's so effective.
And it saves the other wormers, like your clears and your yellows and your oranges and your purples, for when you need them later in the season when white wormer's not so effective.
Great. Sells itself. Great. So yeah, so we better. Of course, we did this at the start of the season.
Set at 5.
You would have done this yesterday, Lizzie. There you go.
And that should come up to 15.
Heartbreaking if it doesn't.
I left my glasses in the
Oh,
car.
I think you're going to tell me it was miles away.
It is under.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it should be 15. I would say you're probably 11. That'll be 15 there, 20.
Oh wow. So we're well under. Jeez.
It didn't sound like it came out.
Well, maybe it's not like that, right?
Maybe it's because you're using a Zoetis gun for an Elanco product.
Let's try again. Clear that. We'll try again.
I suppose if it was Zolvix, you wouldn't have done that.
But let me tell you, this is a mistake that
1, 2, 3.
a lot of farmers will make.
Where are you on?
It's not a million miles out there because
I think there was air in the first one, to be fair.
Uh-huh.
So, like that's 15 there. No, where
That's
is it?
15 there.
Oh, right,
So it's a
okay.
mil short still at the moment.
Well,
Well, 2 actually. 'Cause
Two?
they're in Bubbles.
our only saving grace is they're meant to get 4 mil,
Yeah.
Right.
so we made it 5 just to be safe.
Getting 4.
But they are actually getting 4, so that was lucky.
If it's pretty cheap stuff,
Yeah.
I would dial that up another half mil or another mil,
Yeah,
just to make sure they get the full dose.
yeah, definitely.
And you
So-
reckon you're still happy for them just to have a worming dose? They don't need a fluke dose because this field is not
I don't
high risk. They look good.
Certainly no need to treat the lambs because they won't have met any fluke.
No.
Yeah,
But no, if this is where they lived, if they lived in that field over there past the cattle,
yeah,
I would be less.
yeah. Yeah, that rashy field. No, I think they're good. We'll do some dung samples anyway, but so that is something that a lot of farmers will do, is just use the same old dosing gun every year and not check it, and it shows you ours is well out. Thankfully, we were going to mill up, so they were still getting the 4 mil they're meant to get, but we're going even more now just to be safe. Tell me that one again about Cavexin. So we're giving the lambs Cavexin instead of Heptavac.
I was asking Lizzie what age the lambs were because they have to be a certain age. I don't actually know what it is for Cavexin. I know it's not under 3 weeks for Heptavac. I don't know what it is for
so
Cavexin.
these are 6 weeks.
Because if you go in too early, they've still got the maternally derived antibodies from the mum's colostrum. That will fight off the vaccine or kill off the disease that you're putting in effectively with the antibodies. But the lamb hasn't made its own antibodies, it's used mum's, but then mum's will eventually die off after a few weeks and the lamb's back to having no immunity. So you need to wait till it's not got any maternally derived antibodies from mum, give it its own vaccine, and then it produces its own immunity to that in response to that vaccine.
Some sights this we're learning today, I tell you.
That is a fantastic machine though, isn't it?
For tailing, no, it's great.
Oh,
Vetmarker, Tapari bought over Vetmarker. It must be a company in New Zealand. The big thing for us, it means the job's getting done right. You know, the lambs aren't jumping about in a race.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, the gravity's helping you a bit with the dosing because you're putting it down. You know,
are they more or less likely to spit it back out though?
when they're upside down.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it makes any difference. Honestly, I think they swallow it great. I think you're actually more likely to have the gun in the right place.
This would be the last time they come down to shoot.
Aye. These are some of the biggest.
Just too
ones that
big,
come down
yeah.
to shoot.
Aye.
So another thing, we're about to change the gun that we're using. So we've always used a gun like, well, not always, but recently I've been using a gun like this. I mean, this goes to 30 mil, so that's a massive big gun. What does your one go to, Matt?
10.
10. So the difference is a gun that goes to 30 mil isn't really designed very well to do a 10 mil dose. So we find when we're doing our 10 mil sprays, you get about that much to get your spray done. Whereas a gun that's designed like this, it's a longer time to squeeze the stuff out, so you actually get a better fan and a better application.
And effectively, because you're doing a 4-stroke method, you're quartering the dose. So
Yeah.
each dose in the gun is going to be even less.
So we reckon these lambs will need 20 mil. So we've got the gun set at 5 because we're going to do a 4-stroke method. So we'll just fill that up first.
Also, we do 4-stroke method for lambs as well.
Yeah.
Here's the first way I've been going wrong. I've been in 2.
I'll just make sure I don't squirt anyone with that. So just the same as we did with the wormer, I'll put 4 squirts in the pot and make sure it comes up to 20 mil.
Does it? Big reveal.
It's over. Or is it just bubbles?
It's bubbles, I think, probably.
Yeah, it's bubbles. I can see the bubbles at this side.
It's a wee, a fraction if anything, so that's pretty good.
And you can see on the line there, I'm just a fraction over the 5.
Yeah.
You see that? I'll dial that. Bang
Accurate.
on. We don't want to be wasting any.
No, it's expensive stuff. It's not like the white wormer.
So that's going back in the bottle.
Yeah.
So what we're aiming for is 4-stroke method. Back of the neck down to the middle of the back. Middle of the back onto the top of the tail. Up one back leg, crossing over on the tail. Up the other back leg, crossing over on the tail. And right down the middle of the back so it spreads evenly down both sides.
This sounds very difficult in a pen of lambs. We're going to try it. Is my pen too big?
I would normally
It's
make
a little
it
bit too big.
I would normally make it a bit smaller, and I'd normally probably only work with 10 or 15 lambs at a time.
What do you think about this show, Matt? What's he saying? A triplet, should probably rear them triplets. Our bags okay, like? Well, is it okay? Our bags maybe not okay.
I would check them for fluke, just as a
Aye.
as a
I think we'll take
precaution.
some dung and take it to that.
If you're putting a number on that condition score, what would you say it was?
If I was putting a number on that, I'd probably
on that
give her
leanest
a
one.
1.2, 1.5.
Yeah, she's getting down below that too. Now for her to get back to topping condition in time, you're going to have to wean them pretty quick.
To be fair, you're absolutely bang. Like with these are on creep.
Yeah.
These are a few of them are a good chunk of them are triplets. The ewes are getting fed every day. The lambs are on creep, so we're hoping we'll be in a position that we can wean them early.
Yeah.
Because the lambs will be off the mums as soon as.
And ewes that have to put back on more than the condition score are never going to catch up, so their fertility next year won't be as good.
Which should be a good thing, because I don't want bloody triplets.
But equally, if they've had a stress and they lose weight again mid-pregnancy, the ewe lambs they're carrying, their fertility for their lifetime won't be as good.
Right.
Yeah.
So right.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, that's interesting because we're trying to breed our own replacement ewe lambs now. So you're saying if you're carrying your replacement ewe lambs, it gets in poor condition mid-pregnancy.
Yep.
The fertility of that ewe lamb won't be as good for its lifetime.
No, that's right.
Interesting.
It's to do with the gene switching as the lamb develops,
Right.
and they switch them to prepare for hard times. So they're never going to want to have a lot of lambs if they expect to be under stress all their lives.
That's an interesting one. Another one I didn't know. This is bloody great, this, I tell you. How much is it to have you out for the day, Matt? Couldn't afford it.
That's two beers you owe me.
2 beers, alright. I'll be signing up for a day with Matt. This is great.
I have a go.
I'll do it, right, I'll do.
There's 2 pairs. You can
All right.
both get them
I'll
on.
do an example.
What we should have said beforehand was, when you pick up any packet of anything,
Yep.
read the bit in yellow, because that tells you what protective clothing to wear. Yeah.
This is where I'm going to say this video is not sanctioned by Elanco. This is a sheep game video. What does it say about shorts and skinny legs?
It says you shouldn't be wearing shorts.
No, I know. What is actually the side effects of click on the legs? That'd be good to know. Does anybody actually know, or is it just one of these? Is it one of these things like it's a chemical, so you probably shouldn't have it on you?
If we turn off the recording, I'll give you my honest opinion.
Right. Okay. You've said enough.
Why was it like, if it's gone on a lambskin, then how bad can it be?
But you put,
But Crovec goes in the lambskin, and that make you pretty sick.
yeah.
Crovec's really bad. Crovec does me terrible.
Provect and Dissect, all the
Aye.
SPs, they work because they're poisonous,
Right.
right? And they're poisonous to us as well.
Aye. Oh, they made
Yeah.
me sick last year.
Yeah.
Aye.
So,
In the eye, isn't that?
Click is an insect growth regulator, so it's much more specific. We're not insects, so it doesn't really have much impact on us.
Okay. Okay. But you're right. Anything that's a chemical, you should be.
It's always worth checking the
Absolutely.
checking the label.
Absolutely. So, too wide. Aye, it's just getting used to this new gun.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
That's
come on,
too good on the floor.
fill in the gaps.
I know.
Fill in the gaps. That's it. That'll do. Yeah.
We'll take a wee bit of getting used to that, eh? Right, let's try.
Better. There we go.
Much better.
That was good.
Yeah.
Does it matter what order you do it in?
It doesn't.
Nope.
As long as it lands on the lamb and you get that pattern. You see, that's.
Is that too thin?
And
it's off to the side?
It's off to one side, so that's all going to run down one side.
Well, that's an interesting thing. So,
That's why you want the spread.
in case it wasn't covered there earlier, the click works by running off and then into the skin. So if you put it too far on one side, it only covers that side of the lamb. That is interesting.
it's going to be a good piece of lamb shoulder because it's got extra work on it.
it's
It'll be worth more in the shop.
We just have to keep emphasising that this isn't a speed game.
It's stressful when the vet's watching you and you've got to make sure you do it bang on, isn't it?
But as long as you get that pattern, then jobs are good. The aim is not to have any struck sheep. So the more lambs you can get perfect, the better. Well, I'll move them round a bit for you, Cammy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awkward. I'm making it awkward for ourselves because we've got this big vet shoot. What we'll do next time is we'll probably fill it fuller and then they're a wee bit tighter. But it's very, very hard to be perfect.
It is.
Like, it is really hard to be perfect.
But Cammy, how much better are you now than you were when you were doing your 2 strokes?
Oh yeah, I was just doing 2 strikes up either side of the spine.
So even if you're not getting this perfect, it's way better than what you were doing before.
What I like about this scenario is it's not a perfect scenario. So it's quite a realistic scenario. Yeah. You know, like messing about going round this bloody tail and shoot. We've not set up this perfect scenario for clicking your lambs where everything's absolutely, test perfect. It's like what an actual farm would be doing. Like crawling under here.
Good.
And then the final thing you said, we leave them in here till it dries.
Ideally let it dry in, because you don't want it rubbed off on anything before it has a chance to set in the wool.
Now, I'll let you answer. I know why this is, but someone made a point to me, and what I used to think was, it's good to let the lambs out to go and get a sook from the mum, because then the ewes get a wee bit of the click and it keeps them right until clipping time. But there's an obvious reason why that's daft logic.
Well, if there's any of the product going on the ewe, there isn't enough on the lamb.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's not enough really to do the job on the ewe, and then you're taking it off the lamb so they don't get the full cover.
Yeah, so now you have an underdose lamb and an underdose ewe.
Yeah.
Makes sense. See, when somebody explains it to you, it makes sense. Right, so just cup of tea while they dry.
Aye. Do a few yows.
So you want the same again?
So yeah, well, we've just checked the calibration for the yows, and we want these girls to be same style, 4 strokes, down the midline, that 10 centimetre wide strip at the top, yeah? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, missed a lot yet. I'll get her. 4. Right, try again.
Yeah. So I'll get that's it.
The ewes are definitely easier to do than the lambs.
Definitely easier. You've got a bigger target.
Bigger target, and they're not just as jumpy. Oh, these are
and you can
still wild enough.
That wee bit further back to get that nice 10 centimetre wide stripe down the back.
Yep. What are you thinking there? What we need to improve on?
There was one that moved. You went back and covered it again.
Yeah, and I just did her so she's middle.
Yeah. So that's it. As long as you get that stripe down the middle and it's about 10 centimetres wide.
Yep. And
it'll spread.
It still works well on these full wool ewes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It'll spread into the fleece and bind into the lanolin.
Yep.
And then it covers the whole animal.
And of course we don't need to wait for them to dry because the lambs aren't going to bother them. Just
absolutely.
Let them out.
Yeah, they can go straight out.
Good.
And that'll protect them up to the point where you clip them.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, it'll do 19 weeks on the ewes as well.
Yeah.
Here's a question. How long after you click them, is there any issue with clipping them any time after you click them? You know, with Crovect it caused real bother for the shearers.
Yeah.
Would this cause any bother? I mean, I've never noticed it as a shearer.
I would still be cautious because everybody reacts differently.
Yep.
But it's a completely different chemical to the likes of Crovect and Dissect.
Yeah.
But I would always let your shearers know that you've done it, and then if they're not happy, I would still say, you shouldn't be putting it on if you're going to. You shouldn't be putting it on if you're going to clip it off again in a month.
No, right? You think at least a month.
So at least a month.
Which is fine for these because these will be July, so this is mid-May, so that'll be 6 weeks.
And on the label, on the package, on the yellow bit on the label, it tells you about rehandling, and it'll say wear gloves and overalls if you're handling within 2 months.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, good to know. I say we've done them with this before, and come shearing time 6 weeks later, I've never noticed it. Like, absolutely fine. Although that said, I've never had fly strike. So maybe there's a wee bit of crossover there. I mean, on me personally. I've never been struck personally.
That's because you've cut your hair though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've been dagged.
It's been well clipped.
What about rain? Yeah.
What about rain? Yeah, okay. So how does the rain affect it? What if it rains tonight?
Some of it will wash out.
Okay, right. So how long do you need?
So it's less likely to wash out if it's had a good 8-10 hours to dry in. It's not waterproof. you think of it as shower resistant.
Okay.
If you get a thunderstorm and 2 inches of rain on them, doesn't matter how long after you've applied it, some of it's going to wash off.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, bear that in mind through the summer. If we get these heavy downpours, you might not get as good a protection on some of the animals as you would have done if they'd stayed dry.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's good tip. And same with the lambs, obviously. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, they're tighter skinned. Is it more of an impact on them?
No, same.
Just the same.
Same. Once it's bound into the lanolin, it's bound in.
Okay.
But it will wash out if you put enough water on them fast enough.
Yeah, and obviously a big benefit of doing them, letting them back and doing them in the pen here. I mean, in a nice wide race, you could do them too, to be fair. And this is definitely a big help, is getting this narrower gun. Like the wide gun we were using was too hard to, you had too short a time. Like it came out too quick and you didn't get time to squeeze it and move at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's good. And that's another reason not to do ewes and lambs at the same time, is because you can set the kit up properly.
Yeah.
For the ewes,
Yeah.
set it up properly for the lambs.
Yeah.
Get the job done right.
The job done there. Fantastically warm day. Lizzie reckons these dags are okay for the wool board. They are quite clean. Not clean, but they're dry, and why not? Let's try it. Okay. Get them bagged up. Just realised, no ending again. I sometimes do that. Must be the excitement of the day, or just that there's such a high and then it just peters out to a nice quiet evening. That's us again for this one. Lots of interesting information there. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments and we'll try and answer them. I'll ask Matt or Leah and we'll try and give you a good answer to it. I hope I've done it justice. Knowing me, probably not. Anyway, see you for the next one, sheep fans.